psychedelics don't really fit into any one category. You can look at them from neuroscience or psychology or even therapy, but that's not all of it, right? They also can enrich your life. The history is really interesting. Anthropology, of course, the other worlds, the indigenous worlds, their cosmologies. It's all very fascinating, and I think university is a great place for that. It's interdisciplinary, Breaking Convention even more so. But now it's great that the university and the conference are working together, really. So it's like a dream, really. Yeah.
Amazing.
Can't believe it's happening.
Welcome to Psychedelic Conversations. We have today in the house Dr. Peter Sjöstedt-Hughes.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Nice to be here.
Thank you for having us in Exeter. This is your base, right? You are the lecturing professor in philosophy, and you co-founded the studies of psychedelic research.
Yeah, we founded the psychedelic courses here at Exeter, so 2 masters and a PG cert, yeah.
Amazing. And are you enjoying that?
It's really fun, Yeah, I love it. Students really amazing, coming off all over the place. We learn a lot from the students as well, but so far it's going really well. So just started last year, but so far so good.
Okay. And before we jump onto your area of work and also what I'm interested in your work, who is it for, the program? Who can apply? Just want to touch base on that, and just in case our listeners are interested, maybe interested.
I think a lot of people who apply want to become psychedelic-assisted therapists. We get a big group of those. But also, people, artists, philosophers, people just generally interested in psychedelics apply. Generally, they need a 2-1 degree, but it's not necessary. So sometimes we look at their experience. They have something which is relevant. They can get in as well. We're quite flexible. Also, the part-time stuff is good for people who already have jobs, so they can sort of work in the evenings a bit more and turn it around the children perhaps or whatever.
So there's a flexibility there.
Yeah.
I know several friends of mine took the course and they really highly rated it. So
good.
Amazing. They love your teaching and they love your leads. So I think that says a lot about your passion and the mission here. So can we move into what brings you to this work?
Well, I studied philosophy when I was 18, started studying that, and I just became very interested in the consciousness, the mind, and then when I was working in London teaching, I got roped into teaching philosophy of religion, and part of that was William James's book. And in that book from 1902, he talks about combining altered states of consciousness with certain drugs. And then I thought that was very interesting, and that sort of led me down the path of finding local mushrooms and so on, and then writing about it, reading about it, and realizing there's not much philosophy on psychedelics, surprisingly, because there's so much to talk about. And so I started writing about that with my book Numinautics, Modes of Sentience, and so on. And then, I was doing my PhD here, and then the postdoc, and met some amazing people down the way, and we all kind of got together, and then we thought, okay, the university has to start talking about this a bit more officially and a bit more academically. So we had conferences and colloquia and then now it's 3 courses. We've got Breaking Convention here. We're doing trials with 5-MeO, DMT, ketamine, and so on. And it's just growing all the time. We're hiring in new lecturers, and it's
that's wonderful. So you're also the co-director now for the Breaking Convention.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of the, I guess, UK's favorite organization, I would say. A lot of people know about it. They've been to the events, and we're here today. I mean, this is my first in person.
Oh, is it?
Really enjoying it and loving the vibe here as well. So you said there's not many philosophical conversations around psychedelics. One of the things that really struck to me yesterday in the opening ceremony was Breaking Convention also want to bridge the counterculture and the, normal use of the psychedelics rather than the clinical, therapeutic, religious healing, that we have now. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, first out, Breaking Convention has always tried to be very interdisciplinary, and that's why ticket prices are quite low compared to other conferences. And as you can see, we've got a lot of artists and hippies, but as well as neuroscientists and philosophers like me and all kinds of people, and that works well. We don't have corporate sponsorship; it's all tickets only. And I think that's useful as well, because then psychedelics don't really fit into any one category. You can look at them from neuroscience or psychology or even therapy, but that's not all of it, right? They also can enrich your life. The history is really interesting. Anthropology, of course, the other worlds, the indigenous worlds, their cosmologies. It's all very fascinating, and I think university is a great place for that. It's interdisciplinary, Breaking Convention even more so. But now it's great that the university and the conference are working together, really. So it's like a dream, really. Yeah.
Amazing.
Can't believe it's happening.
Do you think University of Exeter is the best? Because we have Imperial College, we have, I've also attended Greenwich University where David Luke was there. And is there like a competition now? We're doing...
Well, you're asking me from the Exeter, but I think Exeter's now the hub in Britain, maybe in Europe, of psychedelic research, because Imperial College is great and they started it and they're doing great work, absolutely. UCL as well, but they're not teaching courses there on it, and they're not hosting Breaking Convention or any conferences really. So here we have lecturers, you get a full-time job here. It's not just based on grants all the time. And it's beautiful campus, it's like very verdant trees. It's within the beautiful land of Devon. It's ancient, has these amazing pagan roots, and just feels kind of spiritual in itself. And I think this is now
an amazing hub.
Yeah.
It is. I know. I've been out and about yesterday, and I was just stunned by the view and everything. The energy here is amazing. But your area of interest and mastery and passion around animism, the panpsychism,
yeah.
And the idea that everything is alive and conscious. So would you mind talking to us a little bit about that? Because I'm sure our listeners on our channel have not met anyone like you yet, speaking specifically to this area.
Well, so I did my PhD on panpsychism. Panpsychism, pan means all. Psychism, psyche, all is mind. And pantheism is that more like there's one mind of the universe. Universe is the mind, or God is nature. Panpsychism believes that there's minds not only in animals, but also in plants, all the way down molecules, atoms, ad infinitum. And this was, a number of great philosophers, Western philosophers and Eastern philosophers down the ages have professed this. Spinoza, Leibniz, Whitehead more recently, and so on. And it's a very rational philosophy, but a lot of people see it as a little bit crazy because there's this underlying belief in the West, which I now call the brain faith, which is that without a brain, there cannot be consciousness. But this is not a scientific proposition. It's really a metaphysical assumption of the last few hundred years. Europe before that was quite Aristotelian and believed that plants had some kind of consciousness and so on, And so I'm just sort of returning back to those old pagan ways in many ways and just saying, nature is alive. This is what Europe used to believe. The world is an organism. Plato said even, right? And it's interesting how that panpsychism and paganism of the West ties in with animistic beliefs today related to psychedelic use. And so I'm just making the case for nature being alive and having much more value once again. So it also has like ecological value and just makes your life more enchanted and interesting, I think.
I agree, and psychedelics fit right in that space.
They do, because they, famously they induce nature connectedness. You feel like nature is alive, and maybe these are not delusions. Maybe they are real intuitions somehow. And that's the case you can make. And there's a very good case. It's not a religious thing. It can be just a purely philosophical or logical, way of thinking.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so needed right now to have more objective, broader perspective than just kind of zooming into just one little aspect of everything existential. What are your thoughts about the current psychedelic renaissance?
Well, I suppose here we are. I'm part of it. I'm very happy it's happening. When I first started getting interested in psychedelics 15 years ago, perhaps, or so, there was really very few people were out there. The universities were not at all interested. They were trying to avoid it. I couldn't even do my PhD on it. I had to do it on panpsychism. I'm happy to do that, but there were no supervisors to be found, no specialists. So things have changed very rapidly in the last few years, and they're constantly changing. I think partly because there's a lot of philanthropists in the psychedelic field who are just pumping in money, but also because I think in the 21st century now, we're moving away from that 20th century materialism, brain faith, as I say. We're looking at different theories of the mind, extended mind theories, 4E cognition, so on, and just reevaluating the Western approach to what nature really is. There's no obvious default view anymore, and psychedelic consciousness fits nicely into that.
I love that. And do some of the things that we talk about with my colleagues as an inside conversation is it because we're in the psychedelic bubble, or is it really the world becoming interested in the psychedelic consciousness?
I think, obviously, we are in a bubble here, but I think generally speaking, in the universities, we say anthropology's gone through the ontological turn, where they're taking animistic theories more seriously. Philosophy, we've gone through the metaphysical turn. So 20th century metaphysics was a dirty word from the sort of 1930s, really, where we've come out of that now. So that's a non-psychedelic scenario that is happening. And I think people, generally I see that people are interested in consciousness now. We see loads of, scientific documentaries about it and all these YouTube videos. And so I think psychedelics fits into that general change. I mean, things always change, right? But I think the 20th century was pretty reductive and dogmatic in many ways. I think that was a reaction to the religion of the past, which was also dogmatic. So it kind of swung in the other direction.
The contrast.
And now we're finding the right equilibrium, perhaps.
I guess, yeah, makes sense. It's almost like I want to say that some of our elders that are coming out of the psychedelic closet, they call it, right? It's really helping. It's so beautiful to see, like, some of the elders of the 60s, 70s, 80s movement are now willing to openly talk about.
Yeah.
I think they're really driving it, and it's almost like helping us root more. There's more groundedness, I feel. As of late than maybe even 10 years ago. I don't know. Do you feel that?
Yeah, people, I don't know, 10 years ago people were scared to mention it, but now it's they want to talk about it more, and we see that with people like Bruce Damer, for example, Kat Harrison, who spoke yesterday. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that fear of coming out, as it were, is no longer there.
I think so, and thank you for leading this also. I think people like yourself with courage and really we're pushing the edges, I think. Having these conversations, it's really important, I think, and especially being in the UK, I can feel the reservation around it. It's not like in America or any other countries, more so in the UK, because we're known for being reserved, but you're not from the UK, so...
I'm half British, so I'm half from the UK, half Swedish, yeah. But Sweden's also reserved, so...
Exactly, so we are here trying to push the edges a little bit, and it's not easy, but I really appreciate your work. Thank you.
Step by step, but yes, it's going ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To leave our audience, what would you like to leave them with? What would you like to share? What would you like to say about, in general?
Well, I would say keep an eye on Exeter, see what's happening. Also, I have another project, mindatlargeprojects.com now, which is looking at pantheism and panpsychism, animism as a 3-year project. It's going to start next year, but we're doing conferences around the world, so that's another fascinating thing going on. And yeah, BC takes place here every 2 years now, but in between we're in London, so that's good. Yeah, keep an eye out on that. And yeah, the Exeter Psychedelic Centre, that's what we're working on mostly, so stay tuned.
Very promising indeed, and I love the grounds. It's a beautiful university. Thank you so much for all your contributions and having us and hosting us here. Thank you.
Thank you for your lovely questions.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Please comment, share, ask questions, get in touch with our doctor here, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. Thank you.